Here I have another amplifier. It's a Akai AM2350. Can't help feeling this thing's upside down because the way the meters are done, they're basically upside down and at the bottom, which is typical of Akai to come up with a weird looking thing. But yeah, I don't know what's actually wrong with this. Well, it has power. Looks like the lights are lighting up. I guess the first thing I'll do again is just check if tape monitor, balance. Do we have a switch for the speaker outputs? Doesn't look like we do. Stereo, loudness, balance, selector. Oh, there's the speakers. It's a rotary one. Let's go A plus B. There's one of them switched on. Just check for DC on the output before we go putting any speakers on it or anything. That ain't good. 28 volts on that channel. And it should be the same on the B speakers. Ooh yeah. So maybe this was the one they had plugged into the speaker that got killed rather than that Pioneer one. Because that's the sort of thing that will kill your speaker nice and dead. So it looks like these handles on these are just attached. Looks like it comes with a free spider. Go away. Get rid of him, I don't know if he's local or not. But these handles are just attached by a couple of cover screws, so oh yes, you could probably remove them and just put the screws back in and have it without the handles. Just looks like a standard amp now. Probably a bit more practical without them, to be honest. Yeah, I think now that I think about it, this guy, this amp might have been the one that was running when the speaker was found to be blown, and he wanted to get the other Pioneer one going because it's his mum using it and she keeps forgetting to turn it off or something. And this was his good Akai amp that he didn't want running all the time. That's not a good sign because we've got two STK chips. And Akai have even mounted the board upside down, so now I know why they normally put the board at the bottom. That's right. STK082. Yeah, looks like a pair of them. So really, I probably need to, I don't think I really need to access the other side probably, but might as well take this cover off and have a look. So this Akai's been here, like typical Akai stuff, everything's upside down. They certainly made some interesting stuff over the years. But generally this audio stuff wasn't too bad. Their VCRs were pretty weird sort of designs and unreliable. TVs are all Samsung's rebadged pretty much in Australia. So yeah, a few of the caps on this side look like they've been cooked. Does have a fuse over there. And this is the problem with amps that don't have fuses on the speaker outputs, at least that Pioneer had them. Yeah, I did think one of these chips looked like it had been replaced, and it has been. The writing on this one on the side of the cooked looking caps is bigger, thicker white writing. That one I think is a new one, that would be the original, I'm guessing, and that's been replaced. Let's have a look at the soldering, I guess. Yeah, that confirms that there's more flux and stuff, so someone's replaced this one. Whether that's the one that's blown or not is a whole other thing. Could be either of them blown, but it wouldn't be surprised if the early ones, some of these STK chips would just die for no particular reason other than that something failed inside them. Now, where is the speaker output on these? Is going to be the... Is there an inductor or anything to give it away? Maybe that resistor in the middle there. Or does that just come off one of the rails? Oh, it's got L and R, so I think we can guess that is, well, maybe not. Oh, it's that one. So it looks like the new one's died again. If I'm not mistaken, the DC was on that side, and it is. So it's this chip that's been replaced before has actually died. And we can be fairly certain it's just a shot chip. There's not much else it can be. I guess I think it comes through this resistor back to that pin. It's basically just a blown transistor inside the chip somewhere. All they are is a bunch of transistors basically that like an amp would normally have, but they're all built into this thing. Oh, we've now got -5 volts, that's a bit better. And I'm guessing there's here -32 on that pin. Pretty much guaranteed to be a blown chip, so before I waste any more time on this, I better find out whether you can still get them. Well, good news is Wagner Electronics still stock them. I think it was about $23 plus post. You can get them even cheaper from China, but whether you can trust them to actually be the legitimate part or not is another thing. And it usually takes a month or so to get them. So yeah, I might even check a couple of these capacitors as well. Might be best to quote replacing some of them while we're at it, but not sure if they've just been a bit hot. It's interesting they're in the channel other than the one that's actually blown. But it could pay to go over a few of these in both channels and just check them. So I've got a couple there. And I think a couple over there somewhere. Be those two there, I reckon. No, I meant to. No, what's going on? Turn it on, short it out. Ah, I've got the wrong probes. So I'll get the ESR meter going here. Zero that. And I think two of them are there. 0.18, 0.07. Oh, the plus there gives that one away. All seem pretty nice and low. Let's check the other channel. So it could just be the way they were made, even they may not have shrunk from heat. It's possible that those caps, and even if they have, it doesn't mean they've lost any capacitance, lost any electrolyte out of them or anything. There's that, and there's 2, 3 little ones in the middle there somewhere. Very hard to pick where they are from. Two side by side, then a transistor and one over the other side. There's the transistors, I think that was one of them. That's actually got a bit of a dry looking joint on it. Two side by side will be these two. Yeah, I want to have a look at that because that doesn't look real good. A few of these joints actually, the more I look at it. So that could be what's caused problems. This hasn't been resoldered since it was made by the look of it. So that might be another thing to include in the repair if he does go ahead with it. Is a resoldering a part of the board. Yeah, all of these are looking a little bit like they're starting to crack. So chances are I'll do this whole, yeah, that's a, if not a dry joint, it's down, yeah, no, that was probably dry. So I think we're getting to the stage in this amp's life where it's probably a good thing to resolder quite a bit of it, if not the whole lot of it. Like I can see another obvious. Yeah, you can sort of, it may not have been fully dry. It pulled away a bit, but not fully. But yeah, a lot of these joints are pretty dodgy looking. So I might even quote to replace that amp chip, and then I'll just probably resolder the whole board, and this thing I think might be the best. It's all looking pretty iffy. And yeah, if we're going to go over it and put a new amp chip in and spend the money doing that, I think that might be a good idea to resolder everything. Looks like the caps are alright in it at least. I didn't check those other ones in that channel, but they're out of the heat there anyway. So I'll talk to the customer and see what he wants to do. See if he wants to spend the money on it. But I mean, for around, I guess, $80 or something with part and labour. There's not a lot of labour in it. Very easy just to unsolder those pins, and well, yeah, we can get a short screwdriver in there, I'd say. Might have to take this upper piece of heatsink off, but Could even take both chips out and all the heatsink, but looks like someone's changed it before without doing that. So it doesn't take long. It's a 10-minute job to swap the chip really. And then just, yeah, resolder the board. Won't take too long either. And hopefully it'll be good as new then. So I'll see what happens. Okay, I'm back on this Akai, what was it, an AM2350 amplifier. And I have a new STK chip for it. And it looks like, thankfully, this one I've actually left a pin disconnected, so I know which one it was, but I also did know, because it actually looks like that one's been replaced before. It's basically got the same writing as this one, whereas the other one doesn't. It's got a slightly different writing and looks a bit older. These later ones have this 4-digit code on them, and the early one doesn't. There must have been a couple of those caps look like they may have been a little hot, but I think I did check them last time. But I might go over some of these solder joints. There's definitely signs of fracturing. Like they're starting to go. It probably won't hurt to go a few out in this preamp section. I won't have to go over anything that looks slightly iffy. Just as normal part of repairing something. Yeah, I think this definitely wants pretty much a whole channel, probably a whole amp resolder just about. But yeah, it's certainly not the best soldering. Given its age, it's doing pretty well though. But these are going to start playing up sooner or later, I guess. Might be another 50 years, who knows, but I don't think this thing's quite 50 years old, but it may well be a 70s amp. This one is old enough looking. But I don't think it's an early 70s, it'd be a later 70s I would think, especially with SDK chips in it. But at least the chips are still available, that's something. I think that's only really some of the oddball early ones that they stopped making, and even some of those I think people worked out substitutes and stuff. Or you could always wire in a couple of amp modules or something. And just replace the whole output stage sort of thing. Was done occasionally. Oh yeah, that one's definitely looking dry. Yeah, this almost is due for a complete resolder to be safe. Doesn't take too long to do, but a pretty boring job. But you definitely don't want any dry joints causing intermittent issues in the amp stage. Doesn't matter so much in the preamplifier, it's not likely to blow anything. It'll just have a channel dropping out or something. Where did I say there's a few around here and not the greatest? This section here was definitely looking pretty iffy. That's definitely iffy. That doesn't look very great. Some of these I'll just do for the hell of it. That's possibly only the meter section anyway. There's the power section looking pretty good. I think that one on that one could do with going over. Do that one. That's a little iffy looking. But that should certainly make it a bit more reliable into the future. That one's not very good. That one's not very good. Yeah, I think it's the worst of them. Now let's get this STK chip loose. I like to hang on a bit these pins because they certainly haven't made the holes much bigger than the pins. Which doesn't help. Yeah, they tend to stick on the sides a bit. That I can see a little bit. Yeah, do I have to unsolder the whole thing, or can we get it? Might be able to get a stubby screwdriver in there, if I can find my stubby screwdriver. Okay. I have to get the one out of the car, because God knows where the other ones are gone. I have a habit of disappearing, and then all turning up at once. Looks like we can get this off, but whether we can get the amp in easily, but I wouldn't fancy trying to get two chips installed at once with the heatsink either, so but maybe a necessary thing. We'll try it this way. They certainly didn't make this one easy to get to. And sometimes you just got to put a screwdriver that fits in the screw holes and try and break it off the heatsink because it's stuck on. Or prise it somewhere to get it loose. There we go. Yeah, there are all the pins unsoldered. It doesn't feel like that. One of them's hanging on. I think I can see the one. Yeah, that's it. Come on. Yeah, something else is his being a mongrel. There we go. Okay, one chip. Put a heatsink paste on that at least, so someone did that right. And at least this one turned up with straight pins. Often they turn up more the newer type with the thinner leads with a bend in them. They don't put them in any sort of foam or anything, so they send them to you and they're all bent out of shape and you've got to fiddle around getting them right. But at least these older ones take a fair bit of work to bend those pins. But give that a reasonable coating of heatsink paste on the back. Don't want any hot spots left behind. But as long as you put it on reasonably thick, it will spread out and fill in the bits you miss. Should even itself out in thickness fairly well. Don't need an awful lot, but just enough that there's no spots that can run hot, because basically there's a bunch of transistors and other stuff stuck to the other side of that metal backing. inside the chip. Guess we could almost break one open and have a look, see what's in there. Now, can I get this back in? It is the fun bit. And the big question, I might have to bend a couple of these resistors out of the way a little bit. At least I can see down through the heatsink to try and aim my legs for the holes. But that is the hard part. Maybe I should have took that upper bit of heatsink off, because it turns out these legs on the new one are a bit long. So it looks like we might have to take this bit of heatsink off. If it'll, will that come off? Yeah, that's just a little silver bit stuck on the black stuff. So that's probably the key, getting that out of the way. I was sort of thinking it was all one piece, but it's not. Yeah, no, it's not screwed into. That's good. That should just pull off. Come on, the screws. Certainly don't make it easy. That's the most annoying part about these jobs, is the mechanical part. Fault finding's easy enough, but then you've got to hold all this fiddly stuff. In you go, that's it. Quite at the screw hole yet, but it's around there somewhere. There we go. Didn't put it on a very good angle. I do have a... Actually, I've got it right next to me here. It might be easier using a angled screwdriver, at least to get this most of the way in. Someone really needs to make a ratcheting version of these things. A bit like ratcheting spanners. It'd be really handy for these sort of tight spots. Finish tightening up with this. It should get in tight enough that you see a bit of the heatsink paste squeeze out. Yeah, that's it. That ain't there yet. Pretty close though. Yeah, that's it. She's oozing out nicely now. Get our resistors back in place. And I guess I might as well put that heatsink back in while I'm at it. All on this side of the chassis. I can flip it over and fit the other bits. Try at least get that started. Leads are a bit longer, that's why I might even have to cut them off. They're quite long. Probably should get my roll of bigger solder wherever it is, but anyway, small stuff will do. It just uses it up a bit quicker. That should all just flow in there nicely. Solder on there we don't want. That's all looking pretty good. Might resolder that cap as well while I'm at it. Didn't do that middle one, whatever that is. Joint, no. So that should all be a going concern now. Now, I think we just need to check the DC out on this. How much room? Oh, I've got heaps of room. I don't need to cut those leads off. You could cut them down a little bit if you really wanted to, but there's absolutely no point. It's got at least another 10mm clearance, and you're only going to be taking, what's the other one got on them? God, yeah, it's only a couple of mils longer than the other one. Get rid of that old chip out of the way. Usually best just to chuck them in the bag so you don't risk getting that heatsink paste all over everything. And you can give that back to the customer. Show them what you replaced. They're on. And our speakers are on AM. Nothing. I don't think it's blown any fuses at it. Being careful of 240 volts on some of these things because we've got bare connections down there. And that all looks good. I think this just had DC coming out. Again, being super careful what you touch while these things are plugged in and powered up. I've only got a power fuse. Is this the top of the amp? No, it's got the weird upside down level meters. Typical Akai style of doing things. Alright, let's hook her up and hook it to speakers and an audio source. And see what happens. Shooter, because that'll do. So our first job is give that volume control a squirt. If I can get to the thing. Scratchy volume, that's no good. Okay, all the pots seem to be good and switches. Speaker selector's a little scratchy, but not much I can do about that. Yeah, that all seems to be good. I can put that back together, I think, and if I get it the right way around, get that little bit to slot in there. And I'll give it a bit of a soak test, but that should be pretty right. Let up the screw go. Looks like it's missing its feet, this amp. Should have some plastic feet on it somewhere, but they're long gone. The screw holes are there. Although this did have the, or it does have the rack mount things on the end, so maybe someone took it off for that reason. Really can't get used to this thing having the meters on upside down. Quite a weird thing. And do these matter which way they go? Probably not. They're probably exactly the same. Yet they are. So the handles are the same. Bottom on either end. I guess it depends. You can go by the screw holes which way around they went. Because one has to use the upper and one has to use the lower. And the dust on them tells you which way was up. And that's all the screws back in. And there is, I think, a tiny bit of heatsink compound on the knob. That's probably got on my hands, and then I've touched the volume control. Probably last on volume. It's quite a filthy volume control. Anyway, I could do with a clean. Got all sorts of muck on it, but part of the job is cleaning up any mess you've added to it, so it doesn't have to give the knobs a quick wipe down if you've had heatsink paste and stuff all over you. Make sure you don't leave a trail of that all over everything. Yes, I'll give that a bit of a soak test in the background, but that should get it all going. Good to get that one out of the way. Thanks for watching.